Hi, just like to share a little bit more about automating using Integromat. So here we are in the Integromat platform. As you can see here, we have the dashboard, the scenarios. So today we're going to look at scenarios. So your scenarios are your what-if statement. So in this account is a free account right now with 1,000 operations that is free, and a data transfer of 100 megabytes. So as you can see, we've used about 10% already. So for scenarios, let's create a new scenario. You can click from here, or you can click from the top right corner. So in this example, we will create an automated email response when there's a new row that has been added to the Google Sheets. So the Google Sheets are basically from your Google Forms, generated from your Google Forms. So we can skip this phase, or we can just, let's just skip this phase and go ahead. So here we have the first phase. What do we want? Okay, the interval, the time, we can set up to a regular once, it triggers once, or every day, days of the week, and so on. So we can set to this. Normally it's up to you depending on what your needs are. I will set it once a day. So let's say you collect the inputs, and then once a day you do the triggers. So let's say we trigger 8 o'clock every morning. Okay. And you can also set our start date. Say let's say we start tomorrow. Okay. And we can also have an end date when the campaign ends. Okay, it's up to you. So at the moment we keep it blank. So this is the schedule for the scheduling for scenario. So what do we want to have? Basically, we want to have a check at Google Sheets. So Google Sheets, what we're looking at. So we look at the new rows being added, or changes, or perform a function. So these are the things that we want to do. We can do the triggers, basically the triggers, and what are the actions you want to take. So in this case, we're going to look at keep an eye on the rows being added, and then from there we will trigger this. So that's done. And now we need to select which particular account, which particular Google account we want to connect to, or in this case Gmail account, and which particular sheet. So I've already connected to our Buddhist business Gmail, and the sheet we have, let's just how to automate your business. So this is the one we did last time. And what is the sheet name, and does it contain headers? So headers are like this. Let me open the sheet. Okay, so A1, B1, and so on, these are your headers. So it goes up to up to I1. So let's go back. So the header goes to I1. Okay, the limit is, in this case we trigger once a day. So how many rows we want to trigger? All right, how many rows we want to actually activate this process? So it really depends on your case to case. So maybe once a day we get 20 applicants or registration, so we can set that. Remember, if it doesn't trigger, for example, we have 30 people sign up or register for the day. When the next day come, only 20 will be triggered, so that 10 extra people will not get the information. Okay, so this one you can play around, and anyway, if it's not enough, you can always run it once. Okay, if you see that is not enough, you can run it once. Okay, so if we click OK, and where to start, basically all. Okay, so now we need to add a module. So in this case we're gonna use Sendfox, so we just go directly to add a module here. Oops, if you okay, add a module, so we can look for Sendfox. Okay, all right, so what do we do, what can we do with Sendfox? We will add to a list, create a contact in this case. All right, so we create a contact, and we've already set up the VPN. The email address, let me just zoom out a bit. Okay, so the email address, this is taken from your Google Sheets. So you look for the field that has the email. So send to, create, adding the email address into this email column. And then the first name, if you have a first name, here we have the first name, and then we have the last name. Okay, so these are the three things that we want to add into this particular Sendfox list. And we have to select where we want to add to. So we already have the list in Sendfox. So in this case we have test, BizMeet, and landing page. So right now we're using BizMeet. Let's use a test. Okay, it's up to us. So we can add that. Now the list, let me show you the list. So we are in Sendfox. You can see here the email list. Okay, we have 3 here, and of course so far we've been using BizMeet, but I've been using test for some other things. So if you want to create a new list, you can always just click create and give it a name. Okay, the name of the list, and then create, and that's it. So in this case we want to create a list. Just go back. All right, let's go back to Integromat. So the list is here. Okay, test, that's fine, and then we click OK. So that's it to Sendfox. So when there's a trigger, like every morning at every day, okay, every day we do that. In this case 8 o'clock in the morning, when there's a new row added, and there it will execute this process of adding the contact into the list of Sendfox. Alright, so in Sendfox, how do we automate things? So here we can go to automation. So let's create an automation series. So the trigger, start this series after a contact is added to this list. So in this case we've selected test. You click on test. Okay, so this is the trigger, and what we do, so this is the email, so we can write the email like thank you for signing up, so on and so on. Okay, we need a subject, thank you from who, from the Buddhist business. Okay, so the campaign for this one has been set up. So that's the first email. So when there's a new contact, you will send out the email. Then you have the next trigger. So in this case, when the last, these are the 3 triggers, when the last email was sent, or last email was opened, or last email was clicked. So there are 3 options here. So if there's, for example, somebody opened an email, then you will send, what will you do? You add this list. This is like a funnel now. Maybe you add it to the BizMeet group. Okay, and then you you save. You add this, so you're kindly short what's the word, short listing into another group, and then what is the message you want to send to this group. So let's say second email. So this means that maybe you have a promotion, you want to promote, I don't know, let's say promote a new car, for lack of things to say. So you save that. Okay, then you go back to automation. So that's it. This is your first email when they were added to the test list, and then after they open the email, then what you do, you filter them into another email, another list. So in this case you call it Bismeet, and then what is the second email, and then so on and so forth. Okay, you can always add more emails, creating the funnel into a separate list. So that's it for the automation using Sendfox. And Integromat is quite simple as well. So I hope that helps some of you. Thank you.